As I record this video, it is January the 1st, 2022. I always like to start out the new year by ringing it in with some steel. This year, I'm using my Henry H001, one of my favorite rifles. Got it topped off in the magazine tube with 15 rounds of stingers. So let's see if we can get that steel to ring. The steel's about, I'm guessing, 90 yards. And it's a big piece of steel, so it might not ring too well. Let's try it and see. Oh yeah. And you can always tell when these little Henry rifles are empty just by the feel of the action. Hello guys and gals, Buffalo here. Welcome back to the range. Happy New Year. I hope this year brings us really great things. I really do. I hope it's going to be a good year. I want to clear something up before I move on with the video. This is the target that I was shooting at just now, and I'm standing in approximately the same place I was standing when I was shooting it. And if you look over here, you can see a little rooftop. Whenever I shoot at this little target in one of my videos and I have that little rooftop in the same frame, I get a lot of lively comments, a lot of spirited comments telling me how dangerous that is, that I'm shooting at this target and that building over here may be occupied. Of course, they don't understand how my range is laid out here. This is a private shooting range. That little rooftop you see is a carport. It's just a cover that covers my shooting bench down there. That's all it is. It's not a building. It doesn't have any walls. It doesn't have any doors, no windows. It's just a little cover for my shooting bench down there. Now, this is private property. It is a private range. Nobody should ever be down here that I don't know about. But I still, each time before I shoot, I clear this whole property and make sure there's nobody back here that shouldn't be. It may be back here in the woods doing something. I make sure that nobody's around before I ever start shooting. It's just a common sense thing to do. I don't want to go through explaining all that in every video I do, but I'm explaining it now so that if somebody brings it up again, I can supply this video as a link and explain to them that it's not a building and it's certainly not occupied. So I started this video shooting some stingers from the little Henry lever action rifle. And these are going to be the topic of today's video. Of course, stingers have been around for a long time. Cascade Cartridges Incorporated, better known as CCI, introduced these back in 1975. So this year will make 47 years of the stinger. And it's as popular now as it's ever been. It might be more popular now than it's ever been. People love this little cartridge. Of course, it's a hyper velocity, hot little cartridge for the 22. Rated at 1,640 feet per second. Little 32 grain hollow point projectile, copper coated. Does a lot of things well. Small game hunting, pest control, varmint control, predator control. Just anything you need a hot little hollow point expanding projectile in a 22 long rifle for. This is going to do it. Just good ammunition. I remember back in the early 90s, I just got my driver's permit. And the way I learned to drive was that my dad would have me drive him around all the local farms here in the county. Of course, he knew the farmers, but he'd have me drive him around and he'd spot groundhogs and he'd have me pull over and he'd shoot those groundhogs from the car, just resting his rifle right there on the passenger side door and take those groundhogs. Of course, the farmers were happy about it. Dad was happy about it because he filled his freezer full of groundhog. Groundhog's actually his favorite game meat. He loved those, especially that year's groundhogs, the younger ones that were just coming out about September and getting their bellies full of clover. Those were his favorite. I was happy because I was learning how to drive. But I remember that because Dad used an old Marlin Model 60 when he shot those things, and he kept it topped off with these stingers. He always liked the stingers. Of course, that was a different time, you know. That was before the great coyote population explosion around here. Nowadays, it's pretty rare to see a dang groundhog. They used to be really prolific around here, and when the coyote population blew up, the groundhog population plummeted. Rarely see them anymore. Of course, also in today's time, they'd probably lock a man up for shooting from the vehicle like that. But like I say, it was a different time, and that's what we done. I really enjoyed it. Made a lot of great memories with my dad doing that. All right, enough of me reminiscing. Today's video, I'm going to talk about why I can't shoot stingers out of my CZ VARMINT MTR 22 long rifle, chambered rifle. Now, a lot of you guys already know why I can't shoot stingers out of this rifle, but there are a lot of folks that don't. And the reason I know there are a lot of folks that don't is because last year I done a video series where I tested different ammunitions out of this rifle, shooting them for groups at 50 yards. And in each of those videos, if you look through the comments, you'll see that people would request the next ammo they wanted to see tested. And over and over and over, stingers, shoot stingers through it. Let's see what stingers look like. I'd like to see how accurate stingers are at 50 yards. Just comment after comment. And that video series is really popular for something that I've posted on my channel. You know, my channel's not that big. I'm still getting comments on that video series with people requesting that I test stingers out of this rifle. So today, I'm going to go down here. We're going to go down here to the bench under that little carport roof there I was telling you about. And we're going to sit down and I'm going to explain to you why I can't shoot these out of this rifle. Okay, so what makes the CCI Stinger incompatible with this rifle? Let's take a look at the rifle first. We'll take a look at the marking here on the left side of the barrel. And you can see the marking here, 22lr match. That tells us that this rifle has a match chamber. And if you go on to visit CZ's website and take a look at this rifle, it goes on to say it's a match chamber cut to the tightest specification that CIP will allow. So what does that have to do with stingers? Well, I've got some here. Let's take a look. So let's do this like this. I've got 5 different brands and types of 22 long rifle ammunition here. And though the bullets may be shaped a little differently, the rings on the bullets may be different, one thing you'll notice is all the cases are the same length, or really close to being the same length. But if we look at a stinger, look how much longer that case is on that stinger when compared to the rest of them. And in fact, if you go to CCI's website and look at stingers, you'll be greeted with a banner written in red, bold letters that states use only in firearms having a sporting chamber. Now, stingers aren't the only 22 long rifle ammunition that has the longer case. There's several others, but stingers are the most popular of those probably. Here is a Federal Punch, which is a self-defense 22 long rifle round. And you can see it also uses the long case like the Stinger. And there are more that use it as well, but I had those on hand so I could show you that one. And of course, the reason they want to use these elongated cases like this is to get that extra powder capacity to push these projectiles hard and fast. Also, in some parts of the world, Stingers are actually labeled as extra long rifle. So what all this that I'm trying to show you guys here just boils down to is that a match chamber is too tight to shoot CCI Stingers. Okay, I debated on whether I was going to do this or not, but I think the only way to make this a complete video is if I fully chamber one of these Stingers, and then we'll take a look at it and see what kind of impression that it makes on it. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do here. Again, it stops quite a bit short, about, I'd say, 1/10 of an inch short. I'm going to push it on up in there. That is really tight. All right, we're going now. Getting leverage with the bolt handle. It is still very tight. There it went. So it is fully chambered. Hopefully it's not stuck. These CZs have very good extractors. We'll see if it'll pull it out of there. Oh, it did. And that's what I was wanting to get. Let me get my magic eyes here. Okay, we are, I don't know. I'm going to set this other, I wanted to show you it straight out of the gun, but I'm going to set this other camera lens up. I can get really good and close with it, and I'll show you guys what that done. All right, so I've got it under the 1:1 micro lens here. The rifling, not only does it engage the bullet, which is not a problem, a match chamber is going to put your bullet into the lens, but it's also leaving marks on the case itself. The case is setting into the rifling just a little bit, you know. It's just kissing it there. You might damage the rifle, create an overpressure situation, or at bare minimum, you're going to have a stuck cartridge or stuck case that's going to be really stuck in there. Now, am I saying that every Stinger case is going to make contact with the rifling in every match chamber? Of course not. Please don't take what I'm saying out of context and quote me on some forum or something as saying that. But I'm showing you here that it does happen. To be completely honest here, Stingers aren't all that accurate anyway. They're just not designed to be. They're not designed to print tiny groups in paper. They're designed to push that little 32 grain projectile as hard and fast as they possibly can to do as much damage on a critter that it possibly can. They're just way better choices to be shooting out of a match gun. Even if this Stinger didn't cause the problems that I'm telling you about here today, I still wouldn't choose it to be shooting out of a match gun anyway. And I say that as somebody who loves Stingers. I have shot a great many of them. I've took a lot of small game with them. A really good, powerful 22 long rifle hunting cartridge. That's what it was designed to do. Now, I should also add that you can get chambers cut specifically for the Stinger. I know there used to be a company that sold barrels that had Stinger chambers cut. Now, would a Stinger chamber be any more accurate with a Stinger than, say, a sporting chamber? I doubt that it would have any effect on it. But with those barrels that have the Stinger cut chambers, they'll also have a little different twist rate tailored to that little 32 grain short Stinger bullet, and that would improve accuracy. Now, I also chambered a Lapua Midas Plus, and this is high quality match grade ammunition produced under tight tolerances. So this is a pretty good representation of what a match 22 long rifle cartridge should look like. And you can see the rifling, where the rifling engaged the bullet here, but it stops about where that case starts on the Stinger, and you can clearly see where it hits on the Stinger. Now, this is just my opinion. If you get on the forums or if you start asking around, for every person like me that says you shouldn't shoot Stingers in a match chamber, you'll have somebody that says they have shot thousands of them in their match chamber and never had a problem. So that's going to be a decision you have to make. In this video, I'm just explaining why I won't do it and trying to lay out as much evidence as I can as to why I won't do it. So if your 22 long rifle chambered firearm has a match chamber or anything close to a match chamber, you'll want to avoid those Stingers or any of those other cartridges that have the extra long case. You don't want to be trying to force anything into your chamber like that. You're just asking for trouble. Save those for your firearms that have a sporting chamber. I'd say, at least here in the US, the vast majority of 22 long rifle chambers are sporting chambers or something close to a sporting chamber. There's a wide variety of chambers you can have cut for a 22 long rifle, but sporting's probably the most common. And then you get down to your match chambers. A Bent's chamber for a semi-auto is considered a match chamber in most cases for a semi-auto, and you don't want to shoot Stingers in those either, as far as I know. So that's really all I got today. I hope I hope I covered it pretty well. I know the simple answer would have been just for me to turn the camera on and talk for 5 seconds and say, hey, you can't shoot stingers in this rifle because it has a matched chamber. But I wanted to show some of the new shooters and new viewers what I was talking about. That's why I went through the long, detailed route. But that's all I got. You guys always remember that if anybody asks you to give up a little bit of your freedom for the greater good, remind them that freedom is the greater good. I'll talk with y'all again soon.